Run it back.
Ready?
Keep it light.
There's so many out there, you just don't know.
Which ones to watch and when to say no. That's why Ryan and
Andrew
watch so you don't have to.
Alrighty.
How bad do you wish we could start over?
So bad.
Coming in with an alrighty. Panic mode.
Welcome, everybody, to episode
8 of We Watch
WW.
So you don't have to. That was tight. It was totally unplanned too.
Yeah.
Alright.
Nailed it.
I meant to actually write down the acronym so that I wouldn't sound like an idiot this time, but I think you've got it covered for both of us.
Hopefully I got it right.
Yeah, well.
No guarantees.
So I want to get right into it this week because we have a lot to talk about because we watched the quotes from this movie were that it is one of the worst movies of all time.
Worst financial disaster in cinematic history.
Something to that effect. Yeah,
something like that.
So there's a lot to discuss, but you're here because wait, I just lost my place. What am I doing?
I don't know. What do we watch?
What we watched?
Just talk about what we watched.
We watched.
So you don't have to.
So that you don't have to. Pluto Nash. Adventures of Pluto Nash.
The Adventures.
Excuse me.
Of Pluto Nash.
Doing it.
Starring Eddie Murphy.
I told you not to talk in the mic like that. You're just going to do it all episode.
I bet it sounded cool, though.
Also, I've been slamming down on the table a lot more lately during the podcast, and I know it comes through. Table. I got to stop that.
I think tapping on the...
Yeah.
That's probably okay.
No, it definitely is not okay. All right, let's get it together, because I wanted this to be...
Who's in this movie?
Eddie Murphy.
A lot. Not just Eddie Murphy. We've got Randy Quaid. Rosario Dawson. We've got Jay Moore.
And these, by the way, I don't know if you're a celebrity buff like Andrew, but you'd recognize all the faces, rest assured. Mm-hmm. Every single one of these people, you're like, yep, recognize them.
Dude, there's even a cameo with Alec Baldwin.
Spoiler alert. We haven't even done the summary, and you're already giving it away.
I'm just saying there's mega stars in this movie.
Yeah, so much star power. What was the budget?
It was $100 million.
$100 million.
This is our second
$100 million movie. $100 million movie. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what it did at the box office, though?
I do. I don't know. Should we pause for
sure.
listener answers?
Yeah, listeners, what do you guys think?
Call in right now.
Call in. Oh, I've got a caller, actually.
Oh, go ahead.
Line
Put him
1.
on. Hello? You're on the podcast. Why did I change my voice?
Is this the We Watch So You Don't Have To podcast?
Yeah, you've got Ryan here. Andrew just stepped out.
I heard you were doing The Adventures of Pluto Nash.
We did. We just watched that movie. Have you seen it?
Yes, amazing movie. And to answer your question, it did $6 million at the box office.
Wow. Well, okay, I'm going to have to disagree with you on both points, actually. I think the stat was close to...
The caller was crazy.
Yeah, they liked the movie? What?
Insane. You know, a lot of people liked this movie.
Well...
None of the critics.
No. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say a lot of people. We found some people on the comment section of IMDb that liked the movie.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean a lot of people like the movie.
Sure. A lot of crazy people like the movie.
Well,
but they, you know...
To each your own, that's what makes things great, right?
Yeah.
What makes things great?
That's what makes things great.
That's what makes things great.
That's a generic statement.
I want to summarize... I want to summarize this movie so that we can go ahead and talk about it. Did we already talk about what the podcast is? We skipped that this time.
Yeah.
The people know, or they don't know. Either way, they're in it this far. Let's just keep going.
Let's not tell them at this
Let's
point.
not tell them at this point. We should have done that at the beginning.
They're gonna ride the wave.
Yeah, we should have... If this comes out crazy because you're doing this new microphone trick of yours. All right.
So this movie had a staggering loss of $94 million, which it's amazing because Hundo Milio, let me correct myself, Hundo Milio on an all-star cast, and it only made, what, like, are you kidding? Okay, Ryan, why don't you explain?
Why don't you do the summary?
Well, it takes place in outer space. How about that?
That's true. Doesn't everything?
Specifically on the moon, in a little place called Little America.
Little America.
Which is a dome colony on the moon.
Is a dome colony or a dumb colony?
Well, it's both. It's a dumb colony.
I definitely thought you said dumb colony. But...
which, when they pan in, it's basically like, it's like Las Vegas. There's lights, there's casinos. It looks pretty cool.
Let's summarize it. Are you summarizing it? You're doing it right now.
I was just laying the foundation. Why don't you take it from there?
All right, so
Eddie Murphy owns Club Pluto Nash. Or Club Pluto. He's Pluto Nash.
Yeah.
Keep going. I was just
you were throwing me a bone. Yeah.
I was filling in the gaps.
No, I was sort of just trying to figure out the best way, because I guess the hard part is that this movie, it is as bad as they say it is, and so it was. There was a lot of inexplicable things happening. I think the only thing that you need to know is that Eddie Murphy is a club owner, a nightclub owner on the moon.
Yeah, I love how you say that. Just like
it's just an.
Yeah, there's nightclubs on the moon. There's
nightclubs. In fact, the moon's mostly nightclubs. We'll get into that, but
the year is
2080.
2080.
Yeah, when the movie starts.
Right.
By the time he owns a successful nightclub, it's 2087. Right. Anyways, he meets Rosario Dawson, who's on a one-way ticket from
Go ahead. Sorry.
From Salt Lake City to the moon, and shows up at Pluto Nash's nightclub because she needs money to get back to Earth.
She needs a job, but somehow she afforded a trip from Salt Lake City directly to the moon.
One-way ticket, never explained.
Spent all of her money.
Immediately,
now she's broke on the moon.
Immediately in panic mode, trying to get back the way she came. She should have never came there to begin with. Anyways, but the whole conflict happens around the fact that a mafia boss on the moon who owns all gambling on the moon, because the moon is the only place you can gamble in the universe now. I guess I kind of gathered that through the movie. That's what they wanted you to think, that like Earth you can't gamble anymore. Anyways, he is trying to buy Pluto Nash's nightclub for $10 million. And instead of just taking that money, Pluto Nash resists and is then chased by the mob, and the whole movie unfolds. And really, other things happen, but that's pretty much the whole conflict.
Yeah.
So that's it. So thanks for
good podcast.
Thanks for listening. This is We Watch So You Don't Have To.
Signing off.
We probably shouldn't pause too long.
Ryan Webb.
People might actually
they might
actually turn off. Yeah, so let's get into it. There's so much to talk about. It's hilarious.
Dude.
Unintentionally so. Where do we start?
I don't know. I mean, there was like the opening scene in the nightclub with Eddie Murphy and Jay Moore, who's on stage. He's wearing a kilt and he's doing like a crappy performance, and Eddie Murphy is like in the audience watching, and you're trying to figure out what's going on here. And then suddenly these henchmen arrive and they just grab Jay Moore off this. Eddie Murphy like goes to the bathroom to take a piss or something.
Oh yeah.
And it's like extra disgusting in there. He's
yeah.
Like, what's going on? And you're also like, wait, there's a lot happening.
Yeah. This is like
they're on the moon.
Very much just a dive bar. There's no like.
There's already dive bars on the moon. It's the year 2080 and they already have like dive bars on the moon.
When do you think moon?
I couldn't figure that out.
When do you think moon colonization was established? Because that was never clear. So this is...
They didn't really think about that.
Well, let's think about it for them. When do you think people landed on the moon to build a colony in this scenario?
Like, when will that happen?
No.
From now?
No. In the movie, in the movie's universe. When is that?
Probably like 10 years.
Because I'm wondering how quickly
the year like 20 or something.
So within 60 years now, the moon has devolved into just a wretched
like Detroit. Yeah, Detroit and Las Vegas. Combined.
Wow. I haven't checked our metrics lately, but anyone in Detroit just signed off.
Yeah. Well, our podcast isn't available there. So
it really.
Yeah.
Well, it's on the internet, so we'll talk.
Internet doesn't work there anymore.
You found another way to bring Detroit down. All right. Anyways, this is Ryan, by the way, and I think Detroit is a fantastic, lovely city who practically invented the friggin' automobile and is a source of American pride in manufacturing. That's what I think. So if you're out there and you're from Detroit and you're listening to this podcast, God bless you.
Yeah.
And carry on and keep listening to the podcast. And don't listen to Andrew, you know?
I like Detroit, you know?
Well, it doesn't sound like that from the previous... What are we talking about? Let's talk about
8 Mile was like one of my favorite movies.
Let's talk about... You like Eminem.
Yeah. Oh, you're right. Just Eminem.
Let's talk about the movie. For instance...
So I didn't finish the scene, and so he was in the bathroom.
We don't need to describe every scene, though.
No, I know, but we got off track.
This scene's particularly... Nothing happens,
and
but
so...
I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you're going, but if I was summarizing, I wouldn't talk about this scene.
Hear me out.
Don't do the microphone thing. Don't.
Hear me out. So he's in the bathroom, and then he comes out, and Jay Moore is getting attacked. Suddenly he's chained up, right, by these henchmen.
No, it's really
and they're
weird.
shoving like a funnel down his throat.
Yeah.
And they have
battery acid.
Also,
they're choking him with a chain, which those pick one. Like, if you want to just, like choke your victim with a chain...
And they're talking to Eddie Murphy, casually, Eddie Murphy's like, what are you doing? And then they're like, not a big deal. And then they're kind of slowing down, oh...
Well, you know what? Actually, I...
Slowly just getting the chain and putting the funnel down and, about to pour the bottle, and they almost do it.
I have an idea.
They almost do it.
You know what just dawned on me? I think, when we were reading some of those people's review on IMDb... And they were like, yeah, this is a great, slapstick comedy. I was like, I didn't really feel that way ever. I felt almost no emotion throughout this whole movie. And not because I was going into it with, we go into every movie with, we haven't watched the trailer. We just know that it's, reportedly a bad movie.
I didn't know anything. Dude, I honestly didn't even know the rating of this movie. I didn't know if it was, G, PG, R. I had no idea. No context. Dude.
But we go in with an open mind. My point is.
Exactly.
My point is, we go in with an open mind. And so,
I thought this movie was about Eddie Murphy, jumping on a rocket ship with, a team of people, going to some planet. Space cowboy type stuff. And I didn't know it was about, lunar nightclubs. All right, sorry, I interrupted, but...
No.
It blew my mind.
Yeah, so...
I had no idea.
I guess the point is, when you're describing this, I think it's, when you're describing the scene where they're, kind of, almost about to kill or torture this guy, they're doing it sort of slowly... But I don't know what's missing. Is the music missing to where you feel like it should be comedic? But the comedic factor's not coming through. I feel like there's a lot of attempts at comedy, but they don't feel like failed attempts at comedy. They just feel like bad. It just feels like, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't.
The
it doesn't
only
land.
Comedic edge I think to this scene was when Eddie Murphy was making fun of Jay Moore's because he was wearing a Scottish kilt. And there were 3 times where he was like, "Oh, you're wearing a dress," or he made some sort of knock on his dress.
Once again, this movie
wearing.
Is entirely sexist.
Exactly,
almost as sexist as episode 5's Bad Johnson.
Yeah, I would say it was pretty comparable.
Which is crazy because that movie is.
It kind of forced you to be like, "Oh, okay, I'm supposed to laugh at that type of joke right out of the gates." You know? Because it wasn't. Funny.
But I didn't even feel that way. But I never.
Of course.
I never.
We only laughed at the parts that you weren't supposed to laugh at.
Yeah. We had when we did. Yeah, there was a lot of parts that we had fun with.
Yeah.
In fact,
oh, dude, when it zoomed in on, so shortly after that scene, didn't it go to Club Pluto and you got to see Eddie Murphy's nightclub for the first time and how it was popping and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
Right? And then you saw all the people dancing, and weren't they?
Well, that was okay. So flash forward 8 years.
Flash forward
7 years. Sorry,
God.
8 moon years.
It was like 10 solar eclipses. Yeah. Club Pluto is like a crazy Las Vegas type club on the moon.
Not even Las Vegas. Moon Beach is more of a Las Vegas.
You're right.
Scene.
But it was like a crazy club where they're doing these like insane, almost like seizure-like dance moves.
Cool, all choreographed.
Choreographed seizures
Yeah.
is what I would call it.
I think, if anything, it was a failed attempt at, like... there was a lot of, like, future embedded in this movie. Like, look, okay, so let's back up. I was excited about this movie in the sense that it was, like, our first sci-fi kind of movie. And, like, granted, it's a sci-fi comedy, but, like, you know...
There's no science. There's no sci-fi, really.
Yeah.
Other than it being on the moon.
Well, they had some sci-fi things, like they had hover cars, they had self-racking pool, they had a pizza dispenser. This is what they think, by the way, this is like the perception of the year 2080.
It's like the writers saw the movie Back to the Future 2, and then they wrote a science fiction movie.
You know what's also interesting? Yeah, for sure.
Like, they had very loose, like, general concepts, but nothing that was like, whoa, this is, like, super, like, clever or intelligent or, like...
Also, I'm being misleading. We're being misleading by mentioning all that stuff, because it feels like, oh, well, you've got pizza dispensers and self-racking pool and, like hover cars. Like, there's a lot of future stuff happening. That's pretty much it, by the way. Right?
Yeah, that was the extent of it.
Oh, and there's robots. That's
After
the only other
self-racking pool, that was when I stopped being impressed. I was impressed by the self-racking pool.
Yeah, it's like, why don't we have that?
That was awesome.
We should make it.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
In the pizza dispenser, like, within arm's reach, just boop.
Well, that couldn't work.
Give me a slice of pizza. It was like a biometric thing. It scanned his, like, fingerprint or whatever.
Oh, so there's a payment angle here, too?
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. It was like $1 gets you this.
But here's the other
$3
thing.
gets you
Okay,
that.
so maybe the moon... Oh, you know what? I bet a lot of technology advancement happened in 7 years on the moon. Because when we start out the movie, he's in a terrible dive bar, and everything looks normal as far as, like, how you make food, how you wash dishes, all that kind of stuff. In fact, he goes to the bathroom, and how does he clean his hands?
Oh, with a moist towelette.
With a moist towelette. It's the year 2080, and he's using a moist towelette, and yet 7 years later...
It ultra zoomed in on that moist towelette.
It really
Do you
did.
remember?
Oh, dude, did it show a brand? I bet that was an advertising thing.
Wet wipes.
Is that a brand?
I think so, yeah. Pretty sure.
It's like Kleenex.
Wet wipes.
It's just become the thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so they're in the movie.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, isn't that ridiculous, right? Like that we've gotten people to the moon. We've colonized the moon. We've soon to invent pizza dispensers.
Figure out their angle. You're probably right. That's probably why they advanced like 7 years. But I don't know, because there was still like divey, like slum type stuff happening around, even in that advanced future.
Yeah.
Like I just don't know.
In fact, so the whole... Maybe this is a good time to talk about this. The whole moon in this movie is basically underworld kind of like backdoor deal kind of stuff. Was there ever a part...
It didn't make any...
Did we get a sense of like the nice part of the moon? Like,
where
it's
NASA,
like...
by the way? Were they even in this? What were they doing? Maybe they were on like another side of... This is getting into like theories, I guess, about the movie.
That's okay. That's
Maybe
part of what this
on,
podcast
like,
is about.
Maybe they're trying to like expand, like maybe like shit got so bad on Earth they were like trying to populate like an actual like human colony, but then there was this like far side of the moon where there was like this Vegas and like this dirty scene, and
But I don't think things
they just never ever showed it.
I don't think things got so bad on Earth, and also the moon's not that great either at this point.
Didn't you say like gambling was outlawed, and like they alluded to like certain things that were not quite working out on Earth?
Okay, yeah, but like so then. Yeah, but also, while gambling's allowed on the moon, they also have an embargo on having pets? Like, what the hell is that?
Dude,
Did you get that
didn't make
angle?
sense. And then all the dollar bills were in like Hillary Clinton bills.
Well, that's
and,
not related. That's just that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying, like, there's
by 2080, that could be a
be.
reality.
Could be. It was not a great picture of her on the bill.
Wow. What was it? The $1,000 bill or the $10,000 bill?
10,000.
Or
10,000, you get Hillary.
Was it moon money or? Oh, at that point, do you use
Moon bucks? I call them moon bucks.
It's moon monies.
Moon monies, yeah.
Lunar.
Hey, do you know what residents on the moon are called? pop quiz. This is legit from the movie. I'm not even joking.
Oh, yeah, I know.
What?
Well, I watched the movie.
Okay, they're called...
Mooners.
They're not...
Okay.
That is so stupid.
Can we talk about that? Can we talk about that line?
Mooners
It's one of my...
And also, yeah, a quote. I have it written down, too. Mooners can't stand Earthlings.
No.
You have a different one?
Not the quote.
Oh, God.
Okay, what's
No,
yours?
the quote is Pluto Nash is talking to what's Rosario Dawson's character's name? Do we know? Dina or something? Dina. Okay. So Pluto Nash is talking to Dina, and he is clearly like a mooner, and she has just come up from Salt Lake City. Mind
It
you.
sounds like you're describing, like, okay.
Yeah.
An episode of, like, Cops or something.
Yeah.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
That's good. So Dina is she's like, the moon sucks, like this place is terrible. And he's like, you Earthlings are all the same. You think the moon is terrible. Like everything every Earthling thinks the moon Earthlings think the Earth is better.
But they're all from Earth, so that's so, like...
Yeah, and more or less recently, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then the other thing he says, he's like, this is my favorite part about it, though. He goes, you know, the only thing I liked about the Earth. So he clearly was born on the Earth and spent some time there. Mm-hmm. So he's got like a foundation to be like, this is moon life and this is Earth life. But he says, you know, the only thing I liked about Earth, and she said immediately, without hesitation, that you could see the moon.
The moon, yeah.
And he says, bingo. And it's like, how would that conversation... Can you imagine saying something so obscure like, do you know the only thing I liked about this planet? And then someone else nailed that comment, and you're just like, yep. It's like,
yeah.
What? No, like...
Yeah.
Also, that's the only thing you liked about the Earth, really? That you could see the moon? Like, I don't know what's going on for Pluto Nash. Oh, he was in jail.
I feel like that. Yeah, that wasn't true. Also,
was he in jail
we
on
should
Earth?
say that Eddie Murphy, like, he is the, I guess, protagonist. I'm doing air quotes, but you can't see because you're on the podcast. You're on the radio. Mm-hmm. But he was a criminal. He was what did he do? He went to jail. Smuggler.
But I thought it was a moon smuggler. Here's where I'm confused because the movie doesn't explain.
They already have jails and stuff established, dude. It's like
they have to have jails established, dude.
Okay, let's say that 50 years suddenly there's like colonies on the moon, right? Okay. They already have a Vegas. NASA's doing some shit on the other side of the moon, which is not even like mentioned in the movie. They've got jails. They've got like police. They've got criminals and stuff. They've got slums. Like, in 50 years, do you think that they'd have all that stuff? That's crazy to me.
No, I think...
And they've got fucking guns that look like...
Toy guns.
Toy guns, like...
Toy guns.
They look like toy guns.
Toy guns. I'm writing that down right now.
It looks
toy
like...
guns.
It looks like the gun from Nintendo Duck Hunt.
Yeah,
like
it did.
The spring trigger.
It did.
Dude, it's... I don't buy it.
I do think they would have all of those things because I think those are the basics of society that you set up, like, immediately.
Yeah.
But I think it was interesting that, like, it became... So quickly it became, like, this... That's what it only focused on. It
wasn't so much about, like, having a habitat for, like, life. It's more about just, like, no. Just sin and, like... fucking casinos and stuff.
But that makes sense, right? Because like you still have life on Earth in this scenario. So the people that go to this outlying like colony would be the ones that are like looking for something non-traditional, right? So maybe that's accurate. Maybe the movie's actually smart in that way.
It's like Idiocracy in space.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Possibly.
Well, I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, so...
But I don't...
Do we like this movie now?
Dude, this always happens. I don't think I'm never gonna like this movie.
This is what happens when you watch the movie and you go straight into a podcast head first. We're doing this real time. Like, no, it's not. Is it a good movie? No. Should anyone watch it? No. But did they get that one right? Maybe. Who knows?
I don't want to give any credit to this movie. This movie sucked. This movie sucked.
Can we
Let's go back to
I got
the
more
story.
lines. I got more lines.
Okay.
But is that not going back to the story? What did you want to do?
Well, I'm just saying, like, what happened next in the story? Dude, remember, like, he steals the car and they go off to, like, the far side of the moon?
That's not next in the story, but I got a line there?
Go. You take it from here.
So,
take the wheel.
That's Andrew doing the mic thing, by the way, that I asked him specifically not to do several times before we started recording. But anyways,
My voice has been low in prior episodes, so I'm trying to project.
yeah,
We'll edit that out.
we're trying.
We'll edit that out.
We're trying new techniques. It's all. This is a real time experiment. You know, that's what people tune in for. I think. You know, I don't know what people tune in for, but I think it's got to be that.
Toy Goins.
Toy Goins. Hey, we got. We're putting Toy Goins on a shirt for sure, right? That's going on a shirt. Episode 8
Dude, that
shirt.
was an accidental. Hey, by the way, this is a good time to talk about our free t-shirt giveaway.
I wish I had
Which
some
we didn't
music.
plan for.
I wish I had some music. Yeah,
I know.
yeah. Talk about it.
Yeah, so basically we have a contest.
We should probably discuss this more ahead of time. Actually,
should we edit this?
are you giving away
part out?
two shirts or one
No,
shirt?
just
or
one shirt.
Just one.
Whoever comes up with the best awful movie for us to select to watch and then discuss on the podcast, we will give you a free t-shirt. Boom. Episode 10. It's gonna happen.
Wait.
So comment
Episode 10.
on.
Well, no, don't promise the episode. It's not associated with a certain episode. What are the requirements? They have to comment.
They have to suggest the movie title and then give a one-sentence reason as to why.
That's great.
They've
on
submitted
on
that.
social media.
On Facebook. On Facebook.
Well, we have a Facebook page. We have a Twitter page. We've
It's
got
gotta
an
be
Instagram.
Dude, we've got a lot. Facebook.
Why? Why are you limiting our?
That's where our whole audience is.
Well, I've got some Twitter followers.
Okay.
I've been cultivating a pretty sweet Twitter following. So if one of them chimes in, I'll stand behind you guys and submit it.
Why don't we tell them to go to the contact page?
No, because no one's gonna. This is crazy. Look, we shouldn't have introduced this in the middle of everything randomly. I like the idea. Look, we're gonna tell them about the T-shirt. We didn't tell them about the T-shirt. They don't care. We can't spend too much longer on this.
We've got a t-shirt.
Well, if any of you are following us on Facebook or Instagram, way to bail on that. By the way, we're gonna talk about this later. You're just laughing.
It's so funny. It's so funny.
Son of a bitch. We made T-shirts for some key phrases that we came up with for episode 4, Catwoman, and episode 7.
What do they say?
Episode 7. Look, the people need to go find them out. Trespass. Yeah. Trespass. So, if you are interested in a free branded, badass, custom designed T-shirt
Badass.
from We Watch So You Don't Have To for one of those episodes, that also happens to be in a male large. Apologies, but we only have 6 T-shirts we ordered, and we're giving 2 away. Then go ahead.
Thanks for limiting that. So
Well, I don't want someone to be totally
Don't we
disappointed
have
when
like
they.
mediums and stuff?
No, we don't. We ordered. Yeah, I could give them
Okay.
mine.
Yeah.
Worn by one of the.
Get
actual...
the shirt off your back.
Oh wow!
Support your fans.
Wow. You know what? Okay, fine. If you're a medium,
Wow.
you can get my shirt.
That's awesome, you guys. I think you should all participate in this contest.
Where are you gonna
Vote-
give your shirt
vote
away?
now.
If you're gonna give your shirt away, if it's in your size.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep mine. I really like them. They're really
Okay,
cool shirts.
I'm fairly certain no one knows how to participate in this or what's going to happen, but let's keep moving on because we have more to
Facebook,
talk about with Pluto
Recommend a
Nash.
movie, one sentence as to why. Boom, that's all you have to do.
Okay.
We'll pick a winner. Done.
And then we'll send you the shirt.
Yep.
Okay.
Back to the
Back
movie.
to Pluto Nash. That felt like a commercial break. I hated it.
No, dude, it was promoting the... Just...
It's our merchandise.
It's our stuff.
Well, it's not merchandise. Merchandise is what you sell. This is just cool shit that we made.
It's our merchandise.
I'll edit that part out.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, edit out the last, 15.
Let's go back to the intro.
Yeah.
And just pretend that just happened.
Wait, do you have a clip from the intro?
I do, actually. This is a really perfect time. I just want to... Maybe it's a good time to level set and... You know,
like how this movie starts, it's not like 2001: A Space Odyssey, you know.
Great
it's
movie.
Like yeah, that's a great movie. And
we should watch that.
It's not like anything that you've ever seen. In fact, it's like nothing you've ever seen. Here's the intro song.
This is
set
literally
some perspective.
as the different production houses are being like announced on the screen. This is the music
It's like
that comes.
Castle Rock Entertainment.
Boom! Here's how it comes in.
Yeah.
Which is like look, that's awesome. Great song, right? The what is that called? Doo-wop?
Ball, ball, bang, 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 bing, bong, bing, blue, boom.
Yeah. Like that's cool, but we're about to watch what I anticipated was a futuristic sci-fi space movie taking place on the moon, and you kick off with that, and then none of the rest of the movie holds to that theme, right?
It doesn't, and that makes it seem that it's like it feels like a G-rated like Pixar sci-fi movie with that type of song,
Yeah, like there's gonna be animated, like everything.
But instead, this movie's about a criminal who gets like super rapey, and it's like
there's sex robots and stuff.
Sex robots, French maids who bend over and like thongs and stuff, like showgirls.
You should have been the thong song, is what it should have been.
Yeah, Cisco reference.
Yeah, is that? You're done. I feel like I made that Cisco reference, and you just broke down. You're like, oh, that's too good.
It just reminded me. Cisco reminded me of the main henchman.
How do we even have this conversation? I don't even know. Do we skip past it? He's not the main henchman. He's the main.
Yeah.
He's the
main supporting henchman.
Main supporting henchman. He's in the movie quite frequently. What do you say?
I'm gonna let you take this one because I've already.
He's.
What does he look like?
He's definitely a cross-eyed albino.
Man.
I actually.
Yeah.
I take that back. I don't think that's the proper term, and I apologize if I offended anyone. I think it's someone that has
albinism.
Albinism, yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah, and it's all okay.
There's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with any of this.
The main point is
I'm just pointing out that is the henchman they chose, and he's in some pretty key scenes.
The main thing is that he's cross-eyed, and we should totally...
Also, nothing wrong with that. We shouldn't have even started talking about this whole topic.
If you're gonna have a cross-eyed person as your main henchman, there's something wrong with that. He's like...
There's a lot of scenes where it just focuses just on him, and it's like...
Dude,
I don't know what I'm supposed to be taking from this.
He meets with Pluto Nash, and he sets his feet on his desk.
He crosses his legs and throws them up on the table, and that's the first time you see him.
So confidently with his crossed
legs is what you're gonna say.
Yeah.
Let's
good save.
Hey, can we talk about how Pluto Nash drinks a martini? All separate.
Yeah. He
eats an olive.
Takes an olive in his mouth.
Drinks some vodka.
Swig of vodka.
And then something else.
Whatever else goes in.
A martini.
Yeah,
Maybe,
what is it?
I don't know.
No, it's not gin. What is it?
You're drinking your martinis with gin.
Vermouth? No. What is it?
Yeah, vermouth.
Vermouth.
Anyways, he
swigs it around.
Swigs that around.
He's like, yeah.
Sorry, it was the first note I saw to save us from that last conversation. Just had to get us the fuck out of there.
Oh, man.
We got some big topics still. You mentioned the car that was stolen. Can we dive into that?
Dude, that was oh god. Yeah, that was a good scene. It was they had to leave. By the way, where they were at, this little like Vegas area was called quote unquote Little America.
Yeah, how have we not mentioned that?
Little America. I know, that's like an establishing thing. It's in this dome. I don't even know if we said that. So they have
Little
to hightail
America,
it
by the
out
way,
of there.
if you literally colonize the moon, you're not calling it Little
It's not. They should have
America.
called it Little Las Vegas, because or Little like non-NASA like colonization mission, like Little Outsiders or something. It's like they're their own
Little
thing.
Outsiders. I like that.
Little Outsiders, and so they have to basically get out of there. They don't have any place to go except just the far side of the moon, right? So Eddie Murphy,
Don't get me started on that
with
scene.
Rosario Dawson and their robot Randy Quaid.
Did we mention this
who
yet?
is, I don't think so, dude.
Oh my god!
Rosario Dawson, they're now a team.
The biggest fail, by the way, is getting 35 minutes in this recording and not mentioning that frickin' Randy Quaid plays
their
the robot.
bodyguard robot.
Bodyguard robot. Oh.
Bodyguard robot. How do we fail to? And he's a model 32?
No,
or something
63.
Like 63. How could I forget? Anyways, the three of them, and he's hilarious, by the way. He's got this chip in the back of his neck.
Not hilarious.
You're right. Well, for me, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Not for the casual viewer.
It is the most fun producing element of this movie,
Right.
in that you are laughing at it, not with it.
Correct. And
But I did have a genuine good time with it.
Yeah. And things got really crazy. So, but first, before that happens, Eddie Murphy goes into a car garage somewhere and they steal a car. And Rosario Dawson's like, should we be stealing this car? And he's like, yeah, it's got the latest specs. It's a Chrysler S5000. It's got 14 feet of lift and it's got
14 inches of hover.
Inches. Well, damn, dude. How do you remember that? I was just whatever.
Well, I thought it was interesting that it could barely hover, and it's like, okay, that's cool, but...
And so they all pile in to this car, and they're like, all right, we're gonna get out of here. They, turn on the computing system. This British guy pops on, whatever.
John Cleese.
John Cleese, yes. And he's like, oh, hello.
Look at me, by the way, celebrity.
I know, look at you. I don't even know how you knew that.
Yeah.
And so they hightail it to the far side of the moon. They leave the dome, and John Cleese is like...
Can we pause on the John Cleese bit?
Sure.
Because, so he's actually, he's personifying the car, and he's in the dashboard, and he's like, I believe you're stealing this car. He's very much an English,
English Knight Rider.
English Knight Rider. That's good. Never mind the accent I did, just that it was not really English butlery. But he's communicating with him the whole time, and he's very much like, you're not the original owner of this car, and you shouldn't be here. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get to is the fact that Pluto Nash is like, where's the champagne? I want some drinks. And the guy's like, there's no drinks on here, sorry. The car's lying
also,
to him.
In the face of danger, they're just like, yeah, where the drinks at?
Well, they're not. They're sort of in transit at the time.
Yeah, I know, I understand. But nonetheless, they're still in danger. I just think that's weird.
There's never a bad time for champagne. Brought to you by Champagne. So Champagne, if you hear this, feel free to talk to us about a sponsorship.
Yeah. Crystal, we're waiting.
Well, I was going to go more just any champagne.
Viv, if you're out there.
You're just picking the expensive ones.
Yeah. Anyways.
No, I wanted... Sorry.
And then go back to John Cleese.
Our sponsorship...
Go back... Screw the sponsorship.
No,
we
I
don't
know.
need any sponsors.
Well, now you're...
Go back to John Cleese. What was he saying?
Okay, so they poured the champagne, and then he... Oh my god, this is so... he says... He literally says, my god, he's gonna get her drunk and have his way with her. About Pluto Nash pouring champagne for him and Dina. And it's like...
Rosario Dawson. And
whoa,
she's
dude.
already kind of passed out in the back seat.
No. She doesn't do that until right after that. But it's that was a pretty... They were having a conversation, him and this interface before that. And it's I feel like if that comment was made, there would be some reaction. But Pluto Nash doesn't react, which maybe that was his plan then.
Dude, he had the hots for her,
Well, that's...
She's a hot lady.
So...
I'm not saying it's okay, but I'm saying... That was his rationale.
Yikes. We might have to actually edit that out.
John Cleese didn't know what was going on. He wasn't even in the car.
I would say he was the car.
Oh, yeah. Well, but he couldn't see all the way in the backseat.
Yes, of course he could. He's the whole car.
No, he was in the front monitor.
Oh,
anyways,
boy.
Go ahead.
Well, that's what I had, and between this and the whole thing.
So they make it all the way to Eddie Murphy's weird base on the far side of the moon, right? They strap on their spacesuits. It's Eddie Murphy, Dina, Randy Quaid, the robot.
Yep.
And they go inside of this warehouse, and this French maid comes out, and what happens?
Well, we're talking. Don't you throw that to me. Don't you throw that to me. We're skipping on the French maid. She's a sex bot, clearly. Eddie Murphy, actually, I didn't...
I'm not defending Eddie Murphy, by the way. I think he's a piece of shit.
Whoa.
I do.
No, he's a...
In this movie...
He's a comedic, brilliant
Dude, he's
comedian.
like Cam Gigonde in Bad Johnson.
No one knows who that is. Almost not even me.
The lead guy in Bad Johnson.
Look, now that we're talking about it, this is really getting far away from what we were trying to get to. But yes, I will agree with you that I was surprised. Even though robots were introduced in the movie, I thought they were very much like in a sort of like he was the bodyguard and they were like the helpers of the society. But Eddie Murphy made it very clear through his commentary at his Far Side of the Moon hideout that he was having sex with that maid robot, and I thought that was very awkward for him to have that conversation between him and Dina. It's like
he was embarrassed because
he didn't seem embarrassed. He did not seem embarrassed.
No, dude.
He was
the
like kind of
French
bragging.
maid robot did okay. So they get into this warehouse and they see this French maid robot, and everyone's kind of surprised. And she's got her feather duster, and she drops her feather duster and is like, "Oops!" and goes down to grab it, bends over, exposing her thong or whatever. And Eddie Murphy is like super embarrassed in front of Rosario Dawson.
I don't even think that's embarrassment. I didn't feel...
because he's got a crush on Rosario.
I didn't feel embarrassment there. What you're saying like would require emotion to come across.
Remember when he was like, "I forgot that I."
Yeah, but that wasn't embarrassment. He was just fucking. He was just being smug and like grinning. Like that's not fucking embarrassment.
I know. I'm not trying to defend him. I feel like I'm defending him, but I'm really not.
I don't know what you're doing. Why don't you talk about...
I'm trying to explain the scene. Dude, and he goes on the computer and he's like trying to... Dude, why the fuck were they there? Do we even know why they were there?
Why don't you talk about what happens while they're there, which is the actual space fight scene?
Well... No, you're not. You're not.
We're
gonna pause.
Tell him about the space fight scene.
No, we're gonna pause it right here. Hit the pause. And you edit. Podcast? What's wrong with you?
We haven't paused. All right, so space fight scene. Why don't you?
The space fight scene was crazy. So they're in this base in the far side of the moon. And all of a sudden, the henchmen arrive, including the albino cross-eyed guy.
God, don't mention him again.
No, he shows up with a fucking RPG and blasts the whole warehouse, right? And everyone goes flying out. But actually, Eddie Murphy and Randy Quaid, the bodyguard, and Rosario Dawson, they hide away in some sort of like elevator type shaft, which also opens into like the sky.
Yeah.
And so Eddie Murphy grabs Rosario Dawson, tosses her into...
Yeah. She's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm saving you." And he grabs her from behind around the waist and just tosses her into the air.
Into the air of the moon.
And then she just goes flying.
They're outside of the dome, so they're in like... crazy moon territory.
Also, like, is that... Oh, I guess... What the hell is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so that was crazy. And then, I guess...
Wait, what were you going to say, though?
Well, the real thing I was going to say is that the only thing less exciting than this movie is a fight scene in space, which is what happened in this movie, where everyone's going slow motion on the moon, and they're, like, fighting. Remember when he was, like, he, like, grabbed her and was diving and shooting, and it was just, like, this is all slow motion. Like, this is...
So, Rosario Dawson...
Not slow motion, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know.
Do you think the podcast listeners know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, for sure, but here's what I'm talking about.
Well, it's all about you, so...
Yeah?
Nah, I'm just kidding, dude.
So, where Rosario Dawson's, she's flying through the air from Eddie Murphy throwing her up in the air.
He tosses her
and
straight
she's
up.
landing, and it's it's very obvious that she's being like, lowered down from like
yeah, a rope.
loose
a
like
rope.
Yeah, or like shitty wires.
Maybe not rope. Yeah, probably wire.
Yeah,
this was 2002.
2002, and so they lower it down. Only it's a little like too rough, and her knees like buckle when she hits the ground.
Definitely
and, like,
falls on her ass.
Yeah, her ankles like kind of twist, and you're just like, oh my god.
And then immediately a bad guy, they radio in and they're like, look over there, she just came out. And so then a bad guy goes after her, and he goes, he does what is interpreted as like a spring forward on the moon's surface. So he's getting thrust forward, and you can tell he's getting like slung along a wire. And he literally like starts banging into like
it seems like nobody really has control over like their movement or anything. They're just like being pulled, and so this guy is being pulled towards Rosario Dawson, but there's all these like barrels like dividing them pretty much, and his leg like collides with the barrels, and he just
barrels,
falls.
By the way? It's just space trash.
Dude, space barrels.
And the whole thing is space trash, right? Isn't it just like
space trash?
Everything looks like a big dumpster on the moon. Apparently.
Oh, remember when the albino guy, he did the rocket launch? I know, and it blew up the warehouse, but everything got sucked out like it was like a plane like crashing kind of.
Yeah.
And then it just stopped all of a sudden just cause.
Well, because they needed to now continue the movie.
Just cause.
Yeah.
That's
Pluto Nash.
That's kind of shitty.
Is Pluto Nash? That's kind of a cool name, though, right? Like
no.
Next topic. I have something. Pets
I'm surprised Bruno Mars wasn't in this movie.
Jeez. We'll edit that out.
He should have been on the
I pretty much covered all my notes. We should probably try and wrap it up here pretty soon. But a couple more key points that are worth mentioning.
Dude, we missed a lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean,
being serious right now.
Look, the movie was 90 minutes. We've talked about this, Andrew. This podcast can't be as long as the movie. It just can't. Unless people out there tell us, hey, I love it when you guys.
Don't you remember the scene where
you're whispering again?
The head henchman guy called Eddie Murphy at his house, and
head henchman guy.
Yeah, the guy who's in the Matrix. I forget his name.
I don't know how well it's going to play in explanation-wise, but it was fucking hysterical. It was probably the funniest part of the movie.
So he called, and Eddie Murphy was like, man, do you know what time this is? Something like that. Shit. Your face.
How did he do it?
He was like, do you even know what time this is?
Yeah, and the guy... Well, what did the guy even say? I can't remember. I wish I could remember.
And then it was like, bloop, and he hung up.
Yeah, he was just like...
Boom.
Yeah, so, like, apparently all calls in the future on the moon are video conference calls. And so Eddie Murphy answered because you have video conference calls, but you don't have, like, no numbers. So he's like, who's calling me? And then he immediately... I mean, he punked that guy, like, 3 times in a row.
You could have...
Yeah, I know.
Cover that space with
I tried to talk over it.
Yeah.
I tried to talk over it.
How about when they were escaping to the far side of the moon and they had to jump over that ridge?
That's
and
nice.
They called it, and they called it a rill.
Oh no! This is the only thing we need to talk about. This is the gem for the people that stuck around the podcast for this long. This part right here was the most confusing part of the end of the movie.
Also, hang on. Before we get into that, I just want to say
we're gonna
that
get into
the car. We will. The car that Eddie Murphy stole, that him and Rosario Dawson and Randy Quaid are all in, is the most
luxurious... What's Randy
Quaid's
character's name? Do you
Dude,
know?
I don't.
The robot?
Man, I don't know.
I have something else to say about him. Go ahead.
I don't even know. It's the most luxurious limousine. You've got champagne in the back. You've got a guy like video on the front, like giving you directions and like talking to you and stuff.
Most of what you described happens in real cars today, by the way.
Sure, but this is 2002. This was like
no, this is 2080.
Oh my god! Don't even. And dude, I don't know where I was going with that.
No, I know where you're going. Keep going.
Where? I forgot.
You wanted to say that there was this disparity between what the car is.
Oh yeah. And then the view from the outside is that it was a very like tiny car, and you're just like, how do?
Yeah,
It
yeah.
didn't add up. Like, they didn't even think about, like, the interior matching the exterior. It was so silly.
It's basically, to put it in perspective, it's basically like they are in a modern day car, but then when the movie goes to shooting inside, they're in like a small size living room.
Yeah.
And you're like, your mind literally can't reconcile the two. It's like, wait, what? But it's 2080, dude. They have technology.
Part of what throws you
They have
off.
technology that we're not even aware of.
In continuity? Is that a word?
Pizza
Continuity?
dispensers. You have to suspend disbelief. There's pizza dispensers.
If we lived in a world with pizza dispensers, I would live there.
I'd
fly from Salt Lake City straight to New England. Take me to that bar with pizza dispensers. All my life savings is going directly.
Honestly,
there.
if okay, I'll say this on record. If we in our lifetime open a moon colony, which is totally possible, if we do, I vow, along with Andrew, possibly against his will, to book a one-way ticket from Salt Lake City to the moon in order to be bar singers, much like Rosario Dawson's character in this movie. And I will. Will you?
I will.
We're shaking right now. Okay.
Blood Brothers. We slit our wrists, too, and
Jeez!
together.
That's
We made it official.
Entirely unnecessary. All right.
So, how about the weird plastic surgeon
Rillers.
scene?
Okay, we're going back to Rillers. Nope.
No, okay.
Some of this stuff you gotta skip over because people don't need all of it. Andrew, it's 15 minutes in.
Cloning. There's a lot of
I know.
cloning in
We
this
skipped
thing.
that whole angle.
You know,
There's
pick and choose. Pick your poison.
There's stuff we're not gonna cover.
Dude, it's a roll of the dice. Am I right? It's just like Moon Beach Casino.
Moon Beach Casino would be a good t-shirt as well.
Moon Beach Casino was dope.
Did we already mention our t-shirt giveaway?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Just no response to that? Alright.
I feel like why are we falling flat this episode?
We're not. Oh, I see what you're doing. You're mentioning how this is a terrible episode because I always do that.
No.
You think it's a terrible episode?
Yeah.
I think this is a damn good episode.
You think so?
Absolutely. We've hit some real highlights here.
Some real highlights?
That brings me to my next topic. This is important stuff, guys.
Lay up!
This is important stuff, guys. We're going to try and wrap this up in the next 10 minutes. So if you're in your car, if you're at work, tell your boss you're going to be late because this is important. You want to know what real is according to... I don't. Am I using that word right? I don't even know. Dude,
Real.
Real. Set up the scene.
Real.
Let's give it to... Come on, quick. We got 2 more things to say. Maybe 3.
They're going to the far side of the moon in their stolen car.
It's a chase. Dude,
It's a chase. It's really intense. It's, whatever. They're approaching the edge of a crater. And all of a sudden, Eddie Murphy is like, we are reaching a...
Is that why they're doing
it? Which is, I don't understand.
They said it. We had to rewind this like 3 times. We're like, are they saying something we don't know?
Suddenly it's like Fast and the Furious. He hits the NOS or whatever. They go into like ultra, speed. They clear the crater, right?
Yep.
And then hit the ground.
So they
crash.
They
ramp over it, dude.
And then what does that?
They nitrous over it.
What does he say?
And then he goes, "That's why they call me a real tripper."
No, real hopper.
Real hopper. Real hopper?
Yeah, they do say that.
Real tripper.
No, I wrote it down. Real hoppers. In fact, I don't know how real is spelled. I don't know what that fucking word is. Do you know? Real?
Is it even a real word?
No, seriously, how do you think it's spelled?
I don't know, dude.
R-I-L-L.
You can't create a word and then be like, that's why they call me a fake word.
And introduce it 80% of the way through the movie. It's like, what? Like, what am I supposed to think about all this? Like,
oh, dude, remember the part where they get out of the car and they have to traverse the landscape, but only they get so tired because it's like they're crossing like the Sahara Desert or something, and their oxygen tanks are like depleting. But then who's behind him? Randy Quaid, the robot. And what does he do? They pass out and he grabs them by the oxygen tanks.
Yeah.
And there's this epic scene where he's holding them and they're hunched over. And you see the earth in the background and it's like...
Yeah, that was epic. I do feel like you just moved away from...
That was my favorite.
Moved away from real hoppers, though.
Dude, there was nothing more to say. Was there?
Maybe not. Yeah. Real. I mean, we never.
Real hoppers? They already hopped the real. Whatever the fuck that was. Dude, I don't know. It's a made-up world. What do you...
Is it a made-up...
What more did you want to explore about that?
Word or a made-up world?
It's both.
Well...
A made-up word and a made-up world.
Yeah.
Put that on a t-shirt.
Most of our episode now is just thinking about our t-shirts. We're mostly a fashion company. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but... yeah, no, I agree with you. That scene was pretty dope of Randy Quaid standing there lifting those two up. And you know what's weird? We're literally like probably only 80% of the way through the movie, but 99% of the way through the podcast.
Yeah.
So what's the last like one or two? I have like... you know what I thought was weird? I'm going to throw this out there. I don't know if you noticed this. Can I?
People have to be so unsatisfied because they don't know like how it concluded or like anything like that.
Do you think that's what people are tuning in for though? Like no one's clicking on a podcast and they're being like, "Oh, this movie I've never heard of. Let me find out how it ended."
Imagine tuning in, hearing about a story halfway through and not knowing the end. You're just like, okay, you're forever just in. I don't know. What's the word? You're forever in
suspense.
Yes.
Good. Great. Leave the people wanting more. That's what we do here at WWSY DHT.
We make them suspend.
Disintent.
Disintent.
I don't know. This is really falling apart. Andrew, can I talk to you about the end of the... Look, this is all coming out of the microphone, by the way. Every pen tap you do.
I have to emphasize my pen taps.
You don't have to.
Hey, how about Randy Quaid falling in love with the slot machine robot? Only they were not compatible because he was 220 volt.
I love that you rolled back into it. That was beautiful. I thought we were. I kind of thought we were.
Hey, I'm ready whenever. You know, I'm full of them.
A lot of snapping this episode, more than any other episode.
Not so much clapping.
Tell him about the slot machine. But seriously, this is the last thing you can tell him because we got to cut this off.
Dude, they go to Moon Beach because, you know, at this point the movie is really falling apart.
Yeah, of course. This is why I'm not worried about you're beholden to the movie's like script and like to its plot line. Like, fuck that, dude. Like there's 40 minutes of nothing happening. So why do we have to feel like we have to explain everything? We're picking the best stuff. You know what I mean? Are you on your phone right now?
I was trying to find the name of the actor. So
you're on your phone during the podcast.
I don't know. It was the party bus that picked him up. I forgot the guy. His name's Luis something.
Guzman.
You're right, Luis Guzman. So he picks him up. They go to Moon Beach Casino, and boom, Eddie Murphy, Rosario Dawson.
It's the climax of the whole movie. If you can call it a climax.
And it's Randy Quaid, and you know what? He's just like trying to like be the bodyguard of, you know, fucking Eddie Murphy and Rosario Dawson.
Sure.
Only the slot machine is like, hey, dude, because it's like, you know, tapping into like this futuristic.
It's also really weird because this slot machine looks like Rosie from the Jetsons, right?
Oh, yeah, that's who I was thinking of.
Right? Isn't that weird?
I think it was probably modeled after her, actually. And that's really interesting.
But it's also a slot machine, but she's trying to bang this robot who looks like Randy Quaid.
She was like, come, like, yeah, she was being like suggestive, like everything's getting like sexual.
And
it's, like,
following him everywhere.
It's like, pull my lever or something.
It was like, really bizarre.
Insert
it's like
your stuff into me, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? And then finally he's hiding around the corner, and she's like, where are you? She's going like full psychopath, and he grabs her lever arm and just rips it off, and he's like, haha. And then, dude, that's
which I found to be probably the only time I felt anything in the whole movie. I thought that was tragic.
I was like, yes, finally.
Well, we're split on this one. We should talk about that later, but
you thought it was tragic?
Yeah, I thought that was tragic.
Love story that was...
No, because I anthropomorphized this robot. I was like...
You did what now?
Yeah, I applied human kind of... Dude, you and that coaster, man, all episode. This is getting It's getting sloppy. This is the last time.
Your coasters.
Yeah, my coasters suck, alright? Yeah. Hey, look, if there's a coaster company out there that wants to sponsor this podcast, we need new coasters, because every time we come into this room and we try and record a podcast, the coasters are flying all over the damn place.
It's not my fault.
No, it's not your fault. I'm
layperson.
sorry. I'm charged up right now. It's not your fault.
I'm a consumer.
You're a consumer, and you're lifting your drink to your mouth while I'm talking.
Yeah.
Which is fine, because those are the times that you drink.
Is this normal?
Yeah, that's totally normal. Well, that time it didn't go. But anyways, a lot of times it just...
Condensation. Hey,
I was going to talk about a Randy Quaid thing. I've been wanting to talk about
go.
Yeah,
please.
So in Moon Beach Casino...
Hey, can I talk about a part real quick?
Oh, my...
I'm just kidding. Go.
In Moon Beach Casino, Randy Quaid, after he does that, you actually set me up very nicely. See how we're trained off?
It takes like 55 minutes.
Yeah. Well,
How
anyways,
far are we?
We're about an hour in. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Randy Quaid does that action, and he rips the arm off the robot, so that he gets quarantined, and he gets put in a robot area. So while Pluto Nash and Dina are... What the hell just happened? While they're...
This is our worst episode yet.
No. And you know what's funny? I always say that, and now you're saying it. I don't know how to feel about that.
This is like legit our worst episode.
No.
Everything was falling apart, dude. You disappeared for a bit.
No, don't worry about it. It's our best.
The coasters are flying everywhere.
Dude, this is our worst movie ever. It's our best podcast yet.
This was our best movie, but our worst podcast.
Let me finish what I was saying.
You're angrily shaking your pen at me like you're...
I am sort of pointing it at you. That's true.
It's like a red toy gun. How about the golden gun with like the red...
You're not going to let me say what I wanted to say, are you?
Yeah.
It's not... See, this is what you do. You start interrupting me, and now what I'm going to say isn't going to be as you're not going to react to it, and then it's going to be like, whatever. I was actually really excited to talk to you about this.
Tell me.
Really, real talk. Can I talk to you one-on-one?
I'm right here.
You're doing the microphone thing.
But
I think you're trying
lowered my voice
to mess with me this episode.
No.
Okay, you're talking too quiet.
No, I'm not.
We're gonna edit. God dang it! No one's listening to this.
Go.
No one's listening to this at this point.
Dude, everyone's listening. You know why? Because they want free t-shirts.
No. They don't have to listen to this to get free t-shirts. We introduced the free t-shirts long ago.
We give them a teaser on the social media, but they have to listen to the episode in order to hear what the contest rules are.
We're gonna say those at the end?
Yes. No, they have to listen to this episode in order to hear the rules.
I don't even know. I don't think you know what you're saying right now. That doesn't even make sense.
No, on social media we say, listen to the Pluto Nash episode. Free t-shirt giveaway. Rules are inside the podcast. Boom.
Rules are inside
They
the
have
podcast.
to listen to it, and then we already explained.
Andrew, but we already have explained it, so
explained.
why would anyone have an incentive to listen to this part of the
If
podcast?
they want the free t-shirt, they're going to listen to the episode. It's a genius.
Okay, yes, got it. So,
Right?
So, Randy Quaid's character gets arrested in the casino. He's in casino jail. And Pluto Nash and Dina are carrying out the rest of the plot, which is the epic climax of the movie. The point I wanted to make, a small point at this point based on the banter we just had, but did you not find it weird that once he gets out of jail and he forcefully breaks out of jail and then rejoins them, to disguise himself, he puts on a wig?
Yeah, it was like a stupid blonde wig that was like parted down the middle, and it was like,
Are all robots
really gonna...
Are all robots bald? Is that the differentiating characteristic?
Yeah,
Wasn't that weird? It was like a major flaw in the writing of the story, where it's like, well, why does he need to be
There
disguised?
were many major flaws in the writing of this story. For example, this movie did not even need to take place on the moon.
We needed to talk about that. We didn't talk about that.
It needed to take place in Vegas.
Well, no, yeah, like other than the like small,
period.
the small like futuristic things they threw in.
It could have even taken place, not even like proper Vegas. It could have taken place in like old Vegas or like Reno, like some shitty fucking like Vegas town. It did not.
Whoa. Can I also, in addition to the people of Detroit, can I apologize to the people of the great city of Las Vegas, who has endless entertainment for all types and all folks. And also to the city of Reno, who's the biggest little city in the world. We here at We Watch So You Don't Have to appreciate what you offer. So I don't want the statements of Andrew Price to be influencing your decision to sponsor or not sponsor this podcast. That's all. Just want to throw it out there. What were you saying?
My point is that this movie did not, like, what, other than the weird, awkward space fights, why did this have to take place on the moon?
No, it was gimmicky. It was gimmicky. Look, it's a 6%.
What are they trying to capitalize on?
6% on Rotten Tomatoes, man. Like this.
No,
this
I know,
movie,
but like, why space? It didn't need to happen in space.
Because it gave it something. If this movie happened
there was no critical plot element that relied upon the setting being in space.
But that's the thing. It's a device. And no one would have watched this movie if it was the same movie in Vegas. And some people watched the movie because it was the same movie in space. Did we mention
this movie was written in 1984?
You did. Maybe a minute ago. No, maybe a minute ago. I don't think you even finished getting into
1984, and nobody picked it up until...
It's not a bad... I mean, and that's not a knock on the story. Like, if you write a story in 1984 about the year 2080, good on you. You know? Like, that's awesome. But if 20 years later it's adapted and turned into a terribly crappy movie
Some stories should be left alone.
Is that like an R.L. Stein quote or something?
Where did you get goosebumps out of that?
I don't know. It just felt like that. All right, we should wrap it up.
Goosebumps?
We should wrap it up. Unless you got something big you want to talk about, but I don't think we should get into anything else.
Cloning.
I mean, I could talk about this movie forever.
The main villain was Eddie Murphy's clone.
Jesus! Spoiler alert. Also, I thought it was interesting that he said that the only people that come up to this room, the only one that's ever seen his face, is Pluto Nash, his henchman Belcher, and then what does he do? He immediately invites 12 people up to the room. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Remember how the whole room like turned around?
Yeah, spun. Yeah, well, we're just talking about things. We should do this off mic.
We're on mic right now. How about the poster that was like big annual event?
That
should be a shirt.
I'm seriously so glad you mentioned that. If we went this whole podcast without mentioning that, give a little more context about this poster.
Dude, I don't know. It was in the bar where I think
we should have mentioned it earlier.
Playing pool with the self-racking, or no?
I don't know where it was, but you called it out. So. You were like, that poster just says big annual event.
Yeah, big annual event, and it just had a bunch of like symbols of like people dancing and stuff, and like that was it. And then they had such a provocative statement. Big annual event. You don't need. Do you need to know what the event is, or when it is, or how to get there? Dude, it's like the graphic designer was given the instructions, like, okay, create a poster for a big annual event, and he was like, okay, type, big annual event .jpg.
Yeah, and he was like,
it was in the
fuck
movie.
yourself.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Or like the scene where Eddie Murphy and his crew had to stay in a motel because the club got, destroyed. And inside the motel room was an advertisement, like a poster for the motel or something.
Yeah.
It's like an ad for the motel. It was like motel on the door. It was like motel.
Yeah. Well, to keep
you should stay here.
To keep you staying at the place you're already staying. It's just smart. Just smart advertising.
It's like,
well,
lazy.
Let's end on that. It's approximately 107 minutes into an episode. At this point, we've saved you 23 minutes. Arguably, maybe
go see the movie. Check it out. It's a good movie. I give it 5 out of 5.
Andrew, you've totally. This is. I don't know what's happening right now.
Yeah, out of all of Eddie Murphy's movies, this is my favorite.
No, Eddie Murphy has some
Adventures
great
of Pluto Nash,
Coming to America, Trading Places,
Nutty Professor.
No, Norbit. He does play multiple characters in this movie, much like those other movies. But look, you know what? No one's listening.
It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Go see it.
No one's listening. Check it out. No one's listening to this part. So we should let's just do a hard cut,
dude.
Turn it off.
There's a couple people listening to this movie.
To this movie? We should make a movie. We should make a movie about us doing podcasts about movies.
Starring Eddie Murphy. He's looking for work right now.
Oh, Bowfinger is a great movie starring Eddie Murphy. Have you seen Bowfinger?
No.
All right, let's talk about that.
Just make that up.
All right, cue the exit music. Thanks, everybody. I wish we had some music.
Do you have any sound bites that you want to play?
No, I already played it.
Do the intro song for the outro. It'll be fun.
Intro song for the outro. I can do that in post. All right. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Did you hear the microphone thing?
It's the worst episode ever.